Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Linux tutorial. And for this tutorial we're going to be using OBS Studio 25.08. And I did try this on Linux Mint 19, but the software was just crashing. The FPS down there would drop into about 3 frames a second and causing the computer to crash. Trying on 18.03 seems to work okay. So last night I'd done a live stream on 2 meters upper sideband, and there's me on the web camera, hello, and there's the radio 857D. I wanted to add a live chat window here and then transition it across to here. Now normally you just press on the plus and you'll see here it should be listed as Linux browser if it's in there, or browser source, but I haven't got Linux browser and I haven't got browser source, so how do we get around it? If you go to your YouTube live dashboard and under top chat press on the 3 dots and select pop out chat, and a new chat window pops out and it says there Mozilla Firefox. Go back to our OBS Studio and press on the plus, and now we're going to do window capture X composite. I'm going to call it chat and press OK, and here the properties for chat comes up, and where it says window we can select live dashboard to show people dashboard, or we can select OBS Studio. I'm going to select Mozilla Firefox, which is our chat, and we're going to press OK. You'll see the chat window appears here, and then move it about, resize it, do what I want to do to it, and then press transition. Now if you want to view the chat, because it's a bit small on the screen here, you can just press Mozilla Firefox down the bottom here, review the chat, press again to get rid of it. That was a quick tutorial on how to do live chat window on OBS Studio for Linux when Linux browser or browser source isn't listed. If you found this video of some use, give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe. If you don't like the video, the other button seems to work too. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. So last week I showed you OBS and how to get live chat up if you haven't got browser source or Linux browser listed. This week I can't get OBS to start. If I double click it, it just comes up and won't start. If I go through the terminal and then try and run OBS, all the text comes up, tries to start and won't start. That's because I added a video, trying to get a video to play before my live stream, and I think the video format was incompatible. So how to get OBS back? You can uninstall it and reinstall it, but that made no difference. So if we go to our home folder, and on the home folder press Control on the keyboard and then H, and we need to go to .config, and then we need to go to OBS Studio, and if you go to Basic, and we've got there Scenes, double click Scenes. I'm going to remove these two, right click and delete. Now OBS should start up. There we go. Now we can add all our scenes back in here. Yes, a pain in the backside we lost our scenes, but it means you can get OBS up and running. I thought I was going to have to reinstall the whole Linux system. If I quit OBS, what I've got in my documents is my scenes. So here I've got documents, I've got the 2 meter SSB scene. So if I get hold of these two, right click, choose copy, go to my home folder, go on to .config, go on to OBS Studio, Basics and then Scenes, right click and then press paste. And I want to, it says replace Untitled, we're going to say yes, we're going to replace again, so it's now replaced both of them. Now I want to run OBS. You'll see I've got my 2 meter SSB scene come back, and there's me on the webcam again. All I've got to do is adjust the size of the web cameras. So what you want to do is set your scenes up. Once you've set your scenes up, go into your config folder, so Control H, .config, OBS Studio, Basic and Scenes, and take a copy of these 2 files. So if you ever get a crash again, replace the 2 files and you should be more or less back up to whereabouts you were. So if this video has been of some help, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the other button seems to work too. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week for another Linux Wednesday, where we look at Linux tips. Hello, welcome to Linux Wednesdays. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install software on Linux. Now, there are many ways to install software on Linux. I'm going to cover a few of them in this video. So, number one, you can install from the software / package manager. Number two, you can install from a .deb file. Number three, you can install from a .run file. Number four, you can install from a PPA. And number five, you can use the terminal to install software. So let's get right to it. Okay, so to install software from the software manager, press on menu and click on software manager. Now I've already got mine open, and here we can install software with the editor's pick. So if I click there, I can get Steam, FileZilla, Google Earth, and here we got categories. So if I want to click on games, I can then browse the games that I want to install. But I want to look at some webcam software. So in the search box, I'm going to type in webcam. And the first one that comes up is the one we're going to install is Cheese. There are different things there for webcams. So I'm going to click on Cheese. I'm going to press install. It's asking me for my password, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm going to press authenticate. At this point it's going to download and install the software. You can press launch to launch the software, or it'll be in your menu under sound and video. There we go, there's your Cheese. Nice and simple. Okay, so to install stuff from the package manager, we're going to click on menu and click on package manager. At this point it's going to ask us for a password, Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is all text based, it isn't GUI based. You can search for stuff in the search box, or you can click a category down the side. So if I click on amateur radio, and you can go to scroll down and see what list of software it's got. So Aldo is a Morse code training program, but I'm going to go and install a game. So I'm going to scroll down where it's got games and amusements, click on games and amusements, and I'm going to install Gnome Mahjong. And what I'm going to do is click in the box, click on mark for installation, and press apply. And here he's got to be installed. You can push the arrow, so you can install Gnome Mahjong, and unchanged tells you what's going to be unchanged. Now we're just going to press apply. Now it always asks you for your password when you run a package manager, because it has to be run as root, like a super user. And once you've installed the game, it should be under your games tab, menu, games, and there you go, there's the Mahjong. Nice and simple. Okay, so you've downloaded your program. It's come as a .deb file. How do you go about installing it? If I go to where I've downloaded my files to, you'll see here it's got TeamViewer. So I've downloaded TeamViewer 15.5.3 amd64.deb. All I need to do now is double click on TeamViewer, and the package installer opens up. And it's saying the same version is available in the software channel, recommended, but we're not going to do it through the software channel, we're going to do it through the package installer. So I press close, and we're going to press install package. And it's asked us for a password, Sonic the Hedgehog, and we're going to push OK. Now it's going to install our package as a super user. There we go, it says installing TeamViewer amd64.deb, and we're going to press close because it's already installed. At this point we can close our package installer, and you'll find your program. So TeamViewer, for example, is in the Internet tab. Okay, so you've downloaded your file. In my case it's a webcam or webcamoid, and it's a .run file. So how do you go about running the .run file? If we right click it, press on properties and press on permissions, and where it's got execute, it says allow executing file as a program. What I'll do is click in the box, and you'll see it's got a cross there, and press close. At this point I can just double click the file, and then we can install our software. So I'll do it to say that one. Next, and you know what to do with all this, just next, and install. There we go, and it's going to install our software. That'll be, depending on the speed of your system, might take a few moments to install. And when it's finished, it says click finish to exit the webcam wizard, and I've ticked the box that says launch webcam now. Press on finish. And here we go, it's launched our software, and there's me on the camera. Look at this, webcam OID 8.7.1, and on Linux I'm using a Microsoft LifeCam. Yeah, it works a treat. Okay, so how do we install from a .ppa? Now, PPA is a personal package archive, and all we do is go to our downloads page for the software you want to install. So if there's a Linux version, for example, here's Chirp. You've got Windows users, click here. You've got Mac OS X users, click here. And Ubuntu users, it says if you're using Ubuntu Linux or compatible such as Mint, you should install and use a PPA like this. So there's 3 lines of text, and rather than type all the text out in the terminal, I'm going to highlight the first line. Right click and choose copy. Open up our terminal, right click and choose paste. Give it the password, Sonic the Hedgehog. And it says you're about to add the following PPA. We're going to push enter because we want to do it. It's now added it. Now we need to update the system to include the PPA. So sudo apt-get update. Right click, copy, and paste this in the terminal. It will take a few minutes depending on your internet connection speed. And now we want to install Chirp, so we add the last line. Right click and then choose paste. Now sudo is super user do, app is apt, -get to get the software, install Chirp daily. Press return. And it's telling us that we've already got the newest version installed. So I can now do sudo Chirp w, and it's going to run our Chirp software as a root user. You could do that with any software really. OBS, there's PPA for OBS. And that's how to install from a PPA. Okay, so how do we go about installing software through the terminal? So I've loaded up a new terminal window and I want to install Cheese. So I'm going to type in sudo space apt, which is the advanced package tool, -get, and I want to install. And now I'm going to type in Cheese. Press enter, give it my password. Press enter again, and it's going to go and download and install Cheese for us. There we go, setting up Cheese, and it should be under our sound and video tab, which is there. And at this point you can either run it through the terminal by typing Cheese or go under the sound and video. If you find this video of some use, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the button seems to work too. And I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, hello and welcome to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at tips and tricks for Linux on a Wednesday. So last week I showed you how to install software on Linux, and I showed you various different ways. And one of the ways I showed you was using a PPA, which is a personal package archive. So how do you go about updating software from the personal package archive? Well, first we need to check the PPA is still in the system. So we're going to press on menu, and we're going to type in software, and we're going to click on software sources. I'll search for our password, Ubuntu, and press authenticate. And the software sources as super user appears, and we can click on PPA and just check we've all our software sources there that we added the other week. So there's the one I added last week, which was Chirp. You can add new PPAs from here. You can edit PPAs or remove PPAs from here. So how do you go about updating software? Well, it's nice and simple. When an update becomes available, it becomes available via the Update Manager. So if I press on Update Manager, it's telling me there's an update for Chirp software. All I'm going to do is click it and then press Install Updates. Give it the password, Fedora Linux, and then press Enter. And that's going to download and install the latest version. Now I used Chirp in last week's example. It could be any software you've installed via PPA. OBS Studio, Mix DJ, that sort of stuff. And there we go, we've just updated Chirp, or our PPA program, to the latest version. If you found this video of some use, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, that button seems to work too. And I'll see you next time for another Linux Wednesday. Welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to kill a program via the terminal, which might not be responding. For this example, we're going to be using Firefox. It could be any program, Audacity, VLC Player, OBS. So what we need to do is open up a new terminal window, make it full screen, and we're going to use the command top. Now top is like the task manager on Windows. You'll see it gives you a list of running processes on the computer, and by default it's set to update itself once every 1.5 seconds. If I press Q to quit and then type in top -D, give it a delay, and then type in 50 and press enter, it's now going to update itself once every 50 seconds. Now I can now search for Firefox, search, find and Firefox, and press on find. You'll see there it hasn't found anything. If I press close and press capital U, it says which user, so I'm now going to filter it by my name, and we should be able to find the Firefox now. Search, find and Firefox. You'll see there it's now highlighted Firefox. Press on close, and the Firefox process ID is 15642. You minimise that and press K to kill and type in 15642, enter and enter again, and that's now killed our Firefox. Now I need to press Q to quit, and if I type in man followed by top, it gives us a manual page for the command top. If I scroll down, you got -D, there's our delay time in seconds and tenths, so I'll put in 50, and if I go down, U should be in there somewhere, there you are, U, filter by the user, but we did that in the program. Q to quit, I can type in top, -D, 50, space, and I can do minus capital U, space, and then my name, so it could be your name, anyone's name, and it displays the processes that I've got currently running on my username. If you found this video of some use, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the other button seems to work too. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you. Welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. This week's video, I'm going to show you how to run icons you placed on the desktop as an administrator user, because some programs require you to be an admin before you can run them. We're going to use gparted in this example. So if I double click on gparted, it says root privileges are required for running gparted. Now I can right click, open as administrator, give it the password, and the program runs. Now sometimes that doesn't happen. You can right click, open as an administrator, and the program tries to start but just can't start. So what we need to do then, when this thing's finished scanning all the devices, is if we right click, choose on properties, and where you've got the command gparted, type in gk sudo, press spacebar and then close. Now when we double click on the icon, it should always ask us for the password. Give it our password, and the program loads up, and that's how you run the icon as a root user. I can do the same thing with Chirp. Now Chirp is software for programming amateur radios. If I double click on Chirp, it runs the program no problems, but when you try and program a radio you get access denied. It wants to be run as a root user. So I press on the X, right click, choose on properties, and type in gk sudo. Close it, double click, it's going to ask us for our password, and it loads up as a super user. Now to find out what gk sudo does, right click, open in terminal, and man gk sudo, and it says name gk sudo, GTK Plus, front end for SU and sudo. And there's all the options there that you can add. So that was how to run icons on your desktop as a root user. If you found this video of some use, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, the other button seems to work too. I'll see you in the next one. Hello, welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to find your computer specs within Linux. Now you can do this through the terminal or through a program. I'll show you both ways of doing it. You right click on your desktop and go open in terminal and type in ls USB. That's going to list all the USB devices. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And the first one, it says I've got a multi-card reader. Sega Corp is my Mega Drive / Genesis Mini controller, which works out of the box, using it to play emulators. Optical mouse. Truss is my keyboard. Focusrite is my USB microphone. And LifeCam HD3000 is my webcam. I can do a man ls USB and we get the manual page. Now if I want to have that as a text file, I can do that by going ls USB greater than ls usb.txt. You see there, it's created a text file on the desktop with that output. We've redirected the output to a text file. If I type in ls PCI, it lists all of our PCI devices. You can do a man ls PCI. It lists all our PCI devices. You can scroll down and there's all your options. But you can redirect that as a text file. And there's our text file we just created. So I can double click on ls USB txt and we get the output. We can do the same thing for lspci.txt. Now if you install a program called hard info, so sudo app get install hard info, give it our password, Alinko, and it says I've already got it installed. So if we go onto the menus and I'm in the search box, type in hard, and we get system profiler and benchmark, and that gives us a GUI version of our system. So I can press on summary. It says my processor is an 8 times Intel Core i7 CPU 950 at 3.07 gigs. It says I've got 20 gigabytes of RAM using Linux Mint 18, and there's my username. It's got a date there that I'm recording. It says multimedia. There's my USB audio, so my webcam. My USB audio, which is the Scarlett Solar USB. Now they say they don't support Linux, but it worked out of the box on Linux, which is good. This is what I'm using to record. We can press on storage, and it lists all our storage devices. So there's my DVD burner, there's my SSD, and there's my card reader. If I had a battery connected, it gives me my battery information. If I press on displays, you've got my resolution, which is 3286 by 1080. So I've got two monitors connected. So the first one is 1920 by 1080, monitor 0. Monitor 1 is 1366 by 768. If I go on to summary, it tells us that my OpenGL render, my graphics card, is an ATI Radeon RX 470. So what's how to find the computer specs within Linux? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, then the other button seems to work too. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next. Hello, welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to set up the preferred applications for use in Linux. Maybe you've got a video file on MP3 or JPEG and you want to change the default application that they open up with. So if I go into this folder here called Files, you'll see here I've got an MP4, MP3, a JPEG and another JPEG. If I double click this JPEG, open it up, press on Help and then go About, and you'll see it says I'm using XViewer as a default program. Now I can right click and go Open with, and I'll say Pick Image Editor Viewer. It opens up in that program. But if I right click and choose Properties, I can then go open with, and here I can do the default program. So the default program is Image Viewer. I can select Pick Viewer and press close. When I double click now, it opens up with Pick Viewer. If I right click it again, choose on Properties and press on Open With, I can then go Reset. And it resets back to the default Image Viewer. There we go, X Viewer. Yes, I am a massive Sega Master System fan. But if I go to the menu button and type in and I can go to Preferred Applications, and here you can change what web browser is default. So my default web browser is Firefox. You've got Opera. Default mail reader, you've got KML service Thunderbird. And here we go, multimedia. Default image viewer is image viewer. Multimedia, say for example the MP3, I can open that up in VLC. My video, I can open that one up in VLC. Default text editor, default terminal, document viewer, and the accessibilities, default word processor, and default spreadsheet editor. So if I close it, I can double click on the MP3. And if I go help, about, you see it's now opened up in the VLC player. If I right click it, press on Properties, and go Open With, you'll see now it says VLC player. But if I stick it back onto your media player and press close, it's now opened up with the media player, but back in the preferred applications it will still say that I'm using VLC player. So I can go multimedia and then go media player, and it'll be the same thing for the MPEG-4. So using preferred applications, just a way to make it a bit more permanent, so you don't have to right click all the time or go for each individual file. If you found this video of some use, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the other button seems to work too. As always, thanks for watching. Welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. In this week's video, I'm going to show you how to take a screenshot in Linux. Now, if you're just running a single display, you can just push print screen, give it a screenshot name, tell it what folder to save it in, and press save. But because I'm running two monitors and I've expanded the desktop between the two monitors, I want to take a screenshot of both of the screens. So say I want to take a picture of just this screen or just this screen. How do I go about doing it? I've installed a piece of software called K-Snapshot, and you'll find that in your software manager. So if we run K-Snapshot, you'll see at the top here we have a preview of my current desktop. You can take a screenshot. Capture mode, we've got full screen, window under cursor, rectangular region, freehand region, section of window, and current screen. Also got a snapshot delay. We can also include the mouse pointer. So if I click on capture mode and push current screen, and now click on take new snapshot, you'll see the arrow has now changed to a cross, and we can click on the first desktop and we can take a picture of just the first desktop and then save it. And there's our screenshot we've just taken. If I click on take new screenshot and move the arrow to the second screen, you see there I've just taken a picture of my second screen. If I wanted a delay, I can go snapshot delay and stick it up to say 5 seconds, take new screenshot, and you'll see whatever screen the arrow's on, it will take a screenshot. So the arrow sitting on my first screen is now taking another picture of my first screen. Let's turn the snapshot delay off, and we're going to go capture mode, and we're going to go rectangular region. Take a new snapshot. Now I can highlight what I want to take a snapshot of. For example, just the Linux Mint logo. And in the highlighted area, I can just press enter, or I can double click. And there we go, I can save it. That's now saved a snapshot of the current area I've just captured. I can do it with the icons. Double click in the highlighted area and save. And it will save a picture of the icons I've just taken. Just up there. Now if I change capture mode from rectangular region to freehand region and take a new screenshot, I can then draw what area I want to take a snapshot of. So start here, go there like that, for example, like that. And I can double click in the highlighted area. You see there, let me just save it. That's the snapshot I have just taken. You also got window under cursor and selection of window. And that was how to take a snapshot or screenshot in Linux if you're running more than one monitor. That's how I'll do it anyway. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the yellow button seems to work too. If you've got any ideas or suggestions for Linux Wednesday, place them in the comments below. And I'll see what I can do. Hello, welcome back to Linux Wednesdays, where we look at Linux tips and tricks on a Wednesday. In this week's video, I'm going to show you a few fun commands you can do in your Linux terminal. I'll link these commands in below, so you can just copy and paste them into your Linux terminal if you wish to try them. If I right click on the desktop and go open in terminal, now it hit full screen with a plus, and I can type in app moo and press enter. You see there we've got a picture of a cow in ASCII characters. I can do a cow think and then subscribe and press enter. There we go. The word subscribe comes up in a thought bubble from the cow. I can do a cow say and then subscribe, and the cow's got a speech bubble over it saying subscribe. I can now do a fortune and then cow say. Press enter. You see there, it's giving me a question or whatever, or some quotes from some famous person. Press up, press enter, press up, enter, up, enter, up, enter, up, enter. You see there, every time I go up and enter, the cow's giving me a different fortune. If I type in yes, followed by some words, so subscribe, you see down the screen there, like an old 80s computer, we have the word subscribe. And I press Control C to quit it. I can change the word subscribe to anything I want. See there, we've got the word Linux down the screen. If I type in aptitude and then moo, it says there are no Easter eggs in this program. If I push up and stick a -V by it and press enter, it says there are really no Easter eggs in this program. Stick another V in there. Didn't already tell you there's no Easter eggs in this program. One more in there, telling me to stop it. One more in there. If it gives me an Easter egg, will it go away? And we just stick one more in there, and there we go. What's what it's supposed to be? Is that a picture of a house or something? I don't know. But that's a little bit of fun you can have in the Linux terminal. I can also do a cow, say -F, ghost, busters who you gonna call. And there we go. Look at that. Ghostbusters sign in ASCII characters. Now if I run telnet and type in towel.blinkenlights.nl, we get a ASCII cartoon of Star Wars. Now this will work with most terminals. I've had this running on an Amiga terminal, had it running on a BBC Micro terminal, an Amstrad NC100 notepad terminal, also had it running on an old Scion 5 terminal. Let's see if we can get our Star Wars cartoon. There we go, 20th Century Text presents as our Star Wars cartoon. That was a few fun commands you can try in the Linux terminal. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, the yellow button seems to work too. And I'll see you in the next one. Now to sit back and watch this Star Wars cartoon. And as always, thanks for watching.